You are listening to The Thought Leaders Show with the world's cutting-edge, hottest innovators, influencers, and impact makers today. If you are looking for inspiration and motivation, listen in. Welcome to The Thought Leaders Show. Now, here's your host.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited to introduce today's guest, Vicki Kindy. Vicki is an intuitive conduit for divine energy. Vicki grew up in the desert of Southern California. From an early age, she experienced the world as nonsensical and confusing, feeling lost and disconnected. This dissatisfaction led her to seek meaning and connection. Efficient and capable, she developed a successful and profitable property management company. She also explored religious life through church attendance, but these efforts did not bring the expected joy and satisfaction. Religion, professional work, and family life did not provide the spiritual connection she desired. In 2015, Vicki was introduced to the life force energy work of Guruji Mahendra Trivedi. She immediately knew that this was the spiritual path she had been seeking. As she began to receive Biofield Energy Transmissions from Mr. Trivedi and listened carefully to his teachings, her spiritual connection from the divine deepened. And with that, I want to say welcome, Vicki Kindy.
Hi, Tammy. It's lovely to be here.
I wanted to just leave your introduction at that point because our audience, if they've looked at the show, they know that you've been a guest before, and we've had some really cool conversations. And today, I really wanted to dive a little bit deeper into the foundations of how does a person become more receptive and become an conduit for divine energy. And what is divine energy? There's so many questions that I have, and I know the audience has. And you are someone, I've observed you because we've had the pleasure of meeting in person, and I've observed you observing. And I know that you look at people and how they're interacting in the environment. And I'm really curious about your thoughts about divine energy and how do you create a foundation for connecting to the God of your understanding?
Fortunately for me, I was led to Guruji because through him and his blessings, he actually has the ability to connect you to divine. And when he does that, he helps clear space for you to grow and to connect to divine at a higher level. And if you have done your foundation work and are honest and truthful and integrity and sacrificing and caring and, this being that God wants you to be, then you can grow in your spirituality. And that help, that push or lift, or I don't know which way to describe it, whether he's pushing you up or lifting you up, but by Guruji's lifting, it allows, at least it has allowed me to move closer to divine than maybe I would have been able to in this lifetime by myself. Because I was a person that was always seeking, but I didn't have a way to connect with divine in a meaningful way to myself. I mean, that was full enough, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, but that felt like I was on the right path, which is really important to me, to finally be on the path and know that it's absolutely the right path is like, so I am so grateful. And I feel so much heartfelt gratitude that divine led me to Guruji, and that Guruji is here on this planet and was given these gifts, and that I have benefited so profoundly from my connection with him.
I know that you talked a lot about that connection and the fact that you met Guruji Mahendra Trivedi at a point where you were seeking, and so many people are seeking. What exactly, when you say that you were seeking, and you said that you went to church, you were a businesswoman, and from a very young age you were seeking something. So what exactly made you open your eyes and realize that something wasn't there, and that led you to find him? And how did you find Guruji?
Actually, it was more of just, for me, it was always questions. Like, why am I here? What is this about? What is this life about? And there was just tons of confusion around that, because for whatever reason, I always have told friends and family, like, whatever line you got into that said, oh, I'm really passionate about this, and this is the path I should be following, and I should be this professional person, or I should do this or that. For some reason, that line I missed. So there was always this vacuum in my life of, what am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be busy with? I mean, and I did other things, and, we had kids, and you're involved with life, and you do things, but there was always this question of, what is this really supposed to be about, this life? What am I given this life for? And how I met Guruji is through my friend Karen. She was talking about, she had been listening to him speak for, I think it was 3 years at that time, and that she had seen him do all these incredibly wonderful, extraordinary miracles, I guess you would call them, things that other people weren't able to do. And she'd had amazing results in her own life. And when she was sitting there talking about I just knew this was the person I had been waiting for. It was like this knowing, it was just right. This is who I have been looking for. And that I'd asked the universe if there was anybody on the planet that knew how to connect with divine. I would, love to meet them or somehow connect with them. And after probably almost 20 years of waiting, he showed up. And for me, it was definitely worth the wait. And any kind of issues I had before, they kind of just, for me, they dissolved. Knowing that I am seeking to raise my consciousness as high as I can in this lifetime is my goal, and that I'm following Guruji to do that is the path for me. And just having that path, which to me is not really it's like an extraordinary gift, that I finally know what I'm supposed to be doing. And so it's been freeing, and I'm content and happy, and I'm just doing that. And whatever steps I'm supposed to take, they seem to appear the next step. And I just do the next step and know that whatever divine wants me to do, I will do. And Guruji will always tell me if he has something that he says, you need to do this, I will do that. Because I trust that divine is in him, and divine is guiding him to help me and all the others that are brought to him. And I'm so very thankful for that.
So meeting Guruji actually helped you to expand or connect to your faith in divine, or the God of your understanding, when you said that any of the things that were bothering you seemed to dissipate or disappear, what were some of the things that this life force energy has seemed to do for you?
The biggest thing was the confusion. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Why am I here on this planet? What is this about? That went away because now I know I'm here to raise my consciousness. And I'm here, fortunately, to follow Guruji to help raise my consciousness. And so as soon as I had that understanding, it was like this whole weight of all the questions that you have that disturb you, and, is this right or is this right? And, how your mind chatter, and you go on, I shouldn't do this or shouldn't do that, or how do I do, what, I don't know if you've ever had it, but I have definitely been filled with mind chatter for most of my life. And sometimes I'm thinking there's actual people in there and they're all having conversations, like there's 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 and they all have different opinions and they're going, oh my God, we should do this or not, and you start going off and it's pretty much you're just chasing your own tail. At least I was. I didn't usually get too far when everybody was talking, and all these opinions and stuff. So that went away. And it was gloriously wonderful to most of the time. There's not any voices or chattering going on in my head. It's just quiet. And if stuff comes and it's dropping in, I'm going, okay, if this is from divine and this is a path, I will listen. Otherwise, get lost. You're not a useful thought. Go away. Not helpful. Because by the time I met Guruji, I was 61 years old. So I knew from 61 years of experience that all the mind chatter had never gotten me anywhere that I wanted to be. So letting go of it wasn't hard. It was like, yay, God, go away.
That's really interesting that you talk about your purpose is to achieve the highest consciousness level that you can achieve, and that when you finally recognize that was your life purpose, that all of that material stuff, the mind chatter, it seems to me, comes from us trying to manipulate our physical world, and sometimes our ego is in there, and like you said, I get when you're saying it's like having all these different thoughts and ideas and they won't shut up, and you're just like, because everyone part of you, all the parts of you are like trying to justify this, that, and the other thing in the physical world, when it's our spiritual world that should be guiding us as opposed to our ego part of ourselves. And I think that's where most people get themselves in trouble, is that they're so focused on the physical world and keeping up with the other people and spending money and all of the day-to-day stuff and chatter and the things. And I know you're not a big social media fan, and I actually agree with you, but I use social media for my business. So I use it to earn a living. But using social media as an example, why do you think that, maybe you have an opinion on it or not, but if you were to look at your life pre-social media and post-social media, what do you think is the biggest thing that social media, the disservice of social media for people? Everybody goes, yeah, we're able to talk to all these people that we were disconnected from over all those years, but now we can be in contact with our family and all these strangers are our friends. What do you think is the biggest disservice with social media, and why? Because I know you would rather not be involved with it.
I actually, I am not involved with social media. I have never been involved with social media. I do not understand Facebook. And when I try to go on it, it's really confusing to me. And I know that I could figure it out, but I've never been interested in it. I'm on social media because Guruji told me to be on social media. And so I will do that. And you are somebody that helps with that, and you understand it, and you can use it. I never used it in any way, shape, or form before this happened. I had never been to anybody's Facebook page. I was not interested. I don't spend time with people, very many people in my life live. And the idea of trying to connect with people over the internet was never something that I would do, ever.
I just think that's so interesting because, again, I use social media every day, and I do keep in contact with family members and with business associates. But there's also this whole bunch of people, and I have no idea who they are, and they'll argue with me over things. They'll like or they'll dislike something, and it just makes you realize all of the noise. Like talking about the mind chatter, but in our real world, we have all this noise hitting us, and here we are. We're just trying to, like you said, your path is to develop higher consciousness, and that's how the life force energy helps you to, make this connection and to be connected and to not have all this noise attacking you constantly. So you met Guruji in 2015? So it's been about 3 or 4 years now?
I heard about him the weekend after Thanksgiving. So it'll be 3 years, like this Saturday. After Thanksgiving, I met my friend Karen, and we were sitting and chatting. So it would be 3 years from then. And I went home that day, and she told me how to get to his web page. And I called, and I signed up for daily blessings. And I've had daily blessings since that day. And it was just absolutely the correct thing for me to do. And I did it, and I have continued on. And it took a few months, of understanding that he had a webcast, because they didn't really tell me much. And so finally, Guruji offered me a free webcast, and I listened to him speak, which is the first time I, seen him other than the picture on the webpage. Mm-hmm. And then when I realized what the webcast was, then I've always done that every month since then, because it's really important to me to listen to what he has to say. That helps me a lot for understanding what I should be doing, or maybe what I shouldn't be doing, or how to go about raising your consciousness and the things that you need to look at or get rid of, or,
So what would you say what Vicki's talking about is once or twice a month, Guruji actually does like a half-day workshop, an online workshop, and he will go very deep into different topics related to the consciousness and the Trivedi effect and life force energy and biofield energy and the science. And it is very educational and enlightening all at the same time, because there's always something that he says that I'm sure will strike the listener at some point. So what would you say has been the most earth-shattering or profound thing that he has said that just kind of hit you as being like, oh my God, that's the truth? Is there any one thing or many things that he said like that?
Oh, there's been a lot of, I mean, his understanding of the divine, and like he says, the God of his understanding is completely different than most of the teachings I have heard. And so one of the things he talks about is there are fortunate people and unfortunate people, and the energy of being around different people. So if you're at a higher consciousness and say you're trying to resonate with people of lower consciousness, that brings your consciousness down. If you're trying to match them, it's not to say that you can't interact. It's the trying to match energy with them so that you, in a spiritual sense, your spirit matches their spirit, because we're all spirit driven. And we, ultimately, even if we are trying to use our brain and our mind over our spirit, we all still have a spirit that is aware of every other spirit around them. Whether your brain recognizes it or not, there is a connection. Energy, if you want to call it biofield energy, science talks about energies and transfers of energies, and and there's a lot of energies they don't understand, and so it's new stuff. And that would be one of the other things that's amazing is all the science that Guruji's done and the energy that he could transfer to anywhere in the world and affect it. Whether it's living or a non-living, he could change the molecular weight of things, which is like incredible, extraordinary. And as far as science, it was impossible. But they've tested it and they know he can do it. So it's this new understanding of what is possible. Here's this extraordinary being that God has given to the planet as a gift to maybe, absolutely from my point of view, change what is possible. The idea of what is possible. We have as a, if you want to say in the scientific community, they have their paradigms of what is possible and what isn't possible. Well, he can change that for them and open up that arena to new things. Like there is a divine energy that's flowing through everything, and it can be directed, at least by Guruji and the Trivedi effect, to anything he chooses and change it for its enhancement and betterment. And that's amazing.
It really is amazing. And it's very interesting to actually talk to somebody who can articulate it in a way that makes it easy for other people to understand, the value of this life force energy, biofield energy. I mean, you're right. Science gives it, they typically will call it biofield energy, or, and again, I haven't studied science to the, deeper levels, but if you look at some of the science that Guruji has done, especially the agricultural things, because it's very easy to see the difference because you have photographic evidence, and then of course they've done the laboratory testing on this, and it's probably the easiest thing to see of the work that Guruji has done in the thousands of experiments that he's participated in, because you can see the photographic evidence of, here's the plot that didn't have anything, and here's the work that the plot that he did, sent energy to, and it's night and day difference it's very easy for the average person who does not have any scientific background to go, oh, I see a difference between A and B. And then, of course, if you're able to read the reports and the significance of what that means to, I mean, just think about it. If food production alone, raising food with less water, with less fertilizer, and having actually real organic food instead of, food that's, they say is organic, but it really isn't. And there's just a lot in that. And then, of course, the science of all the other things that with the nutraceuticals and things like that, it is all very fascinating. So I think that's interesting because you chose to talk about the science, and then, of course, the fact that there's this human being on Earth today that has this unique ability that can help the world change how they look at science. And I think that is huge, because people look at science as, okay, we've got our hypothesis and all of this, and then they test it to disprove it. And then that's how things become laws of the theories and stuff. So that, I think that's so interesting that in the scientific work that Guruji has done with the Trivedi effect, that they really, it's always has a positive outcome with what it does. And it isn't like it's, oh, it didn't work that time, it didn't work that time, it works every time. And that's really phenomenal, because it's proven that this is actually working. So before I let you go, Vicki, is there anything else that you'd like to say about the Trivedi effect and the life force energy?
I am just incredibly grateful that Divine has given us Guruji, and that I was able to find him and have energy transmissions from him. And that is just, it's been everything to me. It has changed my life. I am now a content, happy person who knows what her path is. And that is such a profound gift to me, that I know what I'm supposed to be doing. And the Trivedi effect, because of who Guruji is, he asked his Divine to allow a group of other people to be able to use the Trivedi effect and have science to prove that you could do that. So I was part of that. And so I got the opportunity to be tested to show that I also can transfer energy, the Trivedi effect, to plants, animals, whatever, to their betterment. And I think, if it's not extraordinary enough that he's here and he can do all this, that he's also trying to have other people be able to also do this and to have science to prove that they are capable of doing this. Now, and the gifts keep coming. If you're around Guruji enough, you find out that it keeps going up. And he does this, and then he thinks of this, and Divine tells him to do this, and it just keeps it, the gifts that he's giving the world just keep compounding and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's incredible.
Well, one thing I can certainly say about you is you've got this beautiful glow and smile on your face every time I see you. You always are radiating this calm and peace and this positive energy. And if anyone has ever walked into a room and there's negative energy, you know what that feels like. And then if you walk into a room where there's positive energy, you know that you want to be there, and it's a warm, inviting place. And that's what Vicki always brings to the table, is this smile and just this warm, positive energy. And so everybody, if you want to contact Vicki and talk to her about anything, her website is forceoflifeenergy.com, and you can find out all about Vicki, the science, frequently asked questions about the science she's participated in, And then, of course, if you want to learn more about the Trivedi effect and Guruji Mahendra Trivedi, you just go to trivedieffect.com and you can find out more about all of the unique phenomenon there. So, Vicki, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time you took with me today.
Thank you, Tammy. It was a joy to be here.
Thank you, everyone. This is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
You've been listening to the Thought Leaders Show. To get all past shows and to get all future shows, go to thoughtleadershow.com.